Welcome to the deep dive. We are heading into 2026, and the speed of change is just dizzying.
It really
I
is.
mean, AI isn't just writing emails anymore. It's designing pharmaceutical protocols, it's managing global logistics.
It's working overtime,
Yeah.
essentially replacing all these rote tasks at a ferocious pace.
And this creates a really profound cultural shift.
It does, because that old playbook, the one that said success, is just a function of working hard.
Right.
It's fundamentally broken. The sources we looked at are so explicit on this. Hard work alone is just, table stakes now.
Absolutely. I love the analogy they used, the disciplined kitchen ant. It works incredibly hard,
All day long.
but it doesn't build a multi-million-dollar business. Undirected effort, no matter how intense, it's kind of irrelevant when a machine can do it faster, cheaper, and, well, without complaining.
So if the game has changed, what's the new strategy? That's our mission today, to identify 5 specific, irreplaceable human skills.
And these aren't technical skills, not things that can be patched or automated away.
Exactly. These are skills centered on awareness, on connection, and adaptation. The kinds of powers that let you thrive when robots are handling, say, 90% of the calculation.
We're looking for that critical edge, the thing AI just can't replicate.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this, and let's just jump into the first one. I think this is maybe the most underrated skill of all.
The ability to notice what everyone else ignores.
Okay, so the source material uses this slightly confusing phrase for it. It calls it the skill of seeing the useless,
Right.
which, wait, if it's an opportunity, how can it be useless?
That's a great question, and it really gets to the heart of it. It's useless only to the unaware observer.
Okay.
To 99% of people, that little problem, that slight annoyance, it's just background noise, not worth the energy.
Mm-hmm.
But the person who changes the world is the one who stops and asks, why is this so annoying? Why hasn't anyone fixed this? The richest people, they didn't discover diamonds. They discovered simple, everyday irritations.
The power of observation.
Yeah.
When you think about Airbnb, everyone talks about the genius of the platform. But their real genius was noticing 2 incredibly boring realities.
Okay, which were?
People had empty rooms, and hotels were overpriced during big events. They just observed this temporary imbalance that everyone else was just accepting.
And that observation was based on a feeling, right? Frustration with hotel prices, a purely human irritation.
Or, what about the great debate over Crocs?
Oh, the Crocs, yes.
The world called them ugly. But someone noticed their truly ignored valuable quality. They're just aggressively comfortable
Too comfortable, some might say.
and practical. That single observation of an overlooked feature was enough to build a global, multi-billion-dollar brand.
But I think the greatest proof that wealth comes from awareness, not intelligence, has to be the infamous car seat gap filler.
Ah, the French fry catcher, yeah.
Exactly. A man noticed people constantly losing things, fries, coins, keys, down that little chasm between the seat and the console.
Happens all the time.
So he created this cheap piece of plastic to block it. It costs, what, pennies to make? But people bought it instantly, made him millions.
And why? Because, and this is a quote from the source, people refuse to lose a French fry.
Right. And here's the thing. AI can calculate and analyze. It can design. But it cannot feel the specific human annoyance of dropping a fry.
It can't register that low-grade friction of daily life that signals a new opportunity.
So the implication for you, the listener, is that opportunities are wearing boring clothes. They don't arrive with sirens and flashing lights.
So the exercise here is simple but difficult. Slow down, observe where people struggle. Don't look for the huge, complicated problem.
Look for the tiny, repetitive annoyance everyone just walks past. That awareness is your first unbeatable skill.
And that's a perfect pivot to skill number 2.
Yeah.
Because once you've seen the opportunity, you absolutely have to be able to articulate it.
Machines can write emails, they can design logos, generate basic copy, but they cannot replace the human ability to connect, to influence, and to inspire.
This is human communication. And we're defining it not by vocabulary, but by connection. It's that powerful, rare ability to talk in a way that people actually want to listen.
Communication is when your words create movement. It's not just transmitting data, it's when your idea enters someone's mind and it stays there.
Maybe longer than their New Year's resolutions.
Exactly. It makes them feel something. Excitement, understanding, desire.
Just think about that difference. Why can some entrepreneurs raise millions with a simple pitch?
While others can't even get their boss to approve a simple expense report.
It's because people don't follow facts. They follow the emotion that's attached to those facts.
Steve Jobs, he didn't sell metal and glass. He sold the feeling of being special, creative, part of a revolution.
And Oprah, she wasn't the most technical expert on every topic,
No.
but millions listened for decades because she made people feel utterly understood,
Yeah.
seen. That emotional resonance is the real currency of communication.
It's that translation analogy from the source. You're selling a bottle of water. You could say, this bottle's good for you. Buy it.
Which is useless information.
Totally useless. Or you could say, this bottle will keep you hydrated, fresh, energized, and mentally sharp for that critical afternoon meeting. You translated your product into their desire.
And the crucial insight here is, if people don't understand you, your knowledge is useless.
It's the bridge between your brain and the world. And if you can't cross that bridge, your best ideas just, they die inside you.
So how do we get better at this? The research gives a few core strategies, and they're all rooted in being more human, not in, fancy presentation techniques.
First one, stop trying to impress people. Jargon, complexity, they're just barriers. Speaking simply is the fastest way to sound authentic.
It shows you respect their time.
Second, listening. Most people are just waiting for their turn to talk.
Right.
Great communicators listen to understand where the other person is coming from. It lets them tailor the message.
And third, you have to add stories.
Oh, absolutely.
Humans are addicted to them. You forget facts and figures instantly, but you remember an anecdote that made you feel something.
Stories are the delivery system for the dry facts.
Finally, control your tone. Calm, contained energy creates trust. If you're frantic, people assume what you're selling is unstable.
And just be honest. In this world of, fake filters and rented success videos, honesty is probably the most attractive skill left. That combination turns strangers into allies.
Which brings us to our third critical skill, the ability to learn fast and adapt even faster. This really explains why some people just rise so rapidly.
In a world changing as fast as 2026, opportunity will literally, as the source says, pack its bags and leave if you wait too long.
It's about adjusting quickly when life suddenly changes its mood. It requires flexibility, not rigid planning.
Let's look at Netflix. Their core skill was never DVDs. It wasn't even streaming.
If it's captability.
Exactly. When the world moved on from DVDs, they pivoted aggressively to streaming. But then when streaming got crowded,
Didn't complain.
they immediately shifted their massive budget into making original content. They became a studio. That's two huge existential pivots in one generation.
And you can contrast that with the YouTubers we mentioned earlier. The ones who survive aren't the ones with the best cameras.
No, it's the ones who can pivot instantly. From a 30-minute documentary to a 60-second short, and then whatever comes next. The ones who complain about the change, they just disappear.
The biggest mental barrier here, according to the sources, it's not competence. It's ego. Some people refuse to update their skills because learning something new makes them feel weak, or it admits their old knowledge is outdated.
So they get stuck trying to prove they were right yesterday instead of learning how to succeed today. The source says you have to view yourself as a perpetual beta tester, always ready to scrap the old model for the new one.
Yeah, we saw this in that case study of the restaurant owner during the pandemic.
Yeah.
He was facing, utter ruin.
He could have just frozen.
But he adapted so quickly. He took his kitchen, which made complex food, and stripped it down to a high-volume meal prep business for gym members, a completely different customer.
And when that hit its limit, he pivoted again. Started selling his signature sauces online, nationally. He survived by constantly asking, okay, what now?
And ended up earning more than before. The takeaway is, fast learners aren't born. They're just people who refuse to freeze.
And often, what allows you to adapt that quickly is our fourth skill, managing your emotions, especially under pressure.
Right. Most people see this as a soft skill, something secondary. But it quietly decides who gets rich and who just stays busy.
It gives you an unfair advantage, because controlling your emotions lets you make clear, strategic decisions when everyone else is panicking.
Think about investing. A market dips. The person checking their portfolio every 5 minutes, reacting to the fear.
They sell low, they lock in losses because of pure panic.
But the person with emotional control, who ignores the noise and waits for the rebound, they profit. Same money, different emotional stability, completely opposite results.
And this applies directly to business crises. Calm companies make strategic moves. If a CEO is operating from anxiety or anger, their decisions are compromised.
That stability creates a lag time between the stimulus and the reaction. It lets critical thinking kick in.
That emotional roller coaster is what stops so many talented people. Quitting a project after one rejection, losing motivation after one bad day.
They just lack the stability to stay on the path. And people, they inherently trust calm people. Calm signals competence.
We have to talk about that anecdote. The young entrepreneur at the huge investor meeting.
Oh, it's a great story.
Just before he goes in, his laptop crashes, his slides are gone, and he spills coffee all down his shirt.
Total disaster. A normal person would panic and just ruin the whole meeting.
But he walks in, completely collected, smiles, and says, "My presentation died, but my idea is still alive."
The slides were just proof. Let me explain the vision.
And he secured the investment. They invested in his temperament, not the PowerPoint, because he showed he could handle crushing adversity.
So to build this skill, the sources say it's all about repetition, creating that lag time between the trigger and your response.
It's training your brain to pause, to breathe, and to analyze before you speak or act, especially when you're angry or stressed.
Which leads directly to the final and maybe most dangerous skill, because you can master all four of these.
Yeah.
Awareness, communication, adaptation, emotional control.
And you still need this last piece to actually succeed.
The final essential human skill is taking action without waiting for perfect conditions.
This is where most people fail, not from a lack of talent or ideas, but from chronic delay.
They're waiting for the right time, right mood, right alignment of the planets.
Right, and they spend 5 years planning the perfect start, and by the time they feel ready, the world has moved on.
Success goes to the people who move, not the people who plan forever. You just have to look at all the messy beginnings. Amazon started in a garage.
Focusing just on books, barely functioning, Instagram began as this clunky check-in app that didn't even work properly.
And Sarah Blakely, the creator of Spanx, she's the perfect example of acting imperfectly.
She had no experience, no investors, no team, just an idea and the courage to start. She was learning and failing and making calls to manufacturers all at the same time. She was moving.
And became a billionaire because action beat her fear and her lack of experience.
We have to debunk this idea that you wait for motivation. Motivation is it's like Wi-Fi. It's totally unreliable.
You can't plan your success around something that flickers in and out. The reality is, action creates motivation, not the other way around.
Exactly. You don't get confident before you start. You get confident because you started and you got a few small wins. Nobody feels fully ready. Not even the big leaders we admire. They just move anyway.
And this final skill really needs that fourth one we talked about.
Yeah.
You need the emotional control to handle the messiness and the failure that comes with imperfect action.
Action is the final, most powerful discipline. While everyone else is preparing their slides, the doers are progressing and building. Action just beats talent, fear, and perfection every single time.
So what does this combination of 5 human skills create for you? It's really an unstoppable force.
You have the awareness to see the simple opportunities,
The communication to translate them.
the flexibility to adapt to change,
The emotional stability to manage the chaos.
and the action drive to actually start. This full set of human powers makes you someone who doesn't just survive the future, you actively shape it.
Machines can replace knowledge and calculation, but they cannot replace these 5 human powers of feeling and discipline.
The future isn't waiting for you, but it will absolutely and ruthlessly reward you if you choose to move and lead with these skills.
So take a moment to reflect. Which one of these 5 observation, communication, adaptation, emotional management, or action is the single biggest bottleneck in your life right now? That's where you need to focus today.